Gas, diesel, and electric cars. They're the four main vehicles we see on the roads today. But what are the ups and downs of all these vehicles? There are a lot of raised concerns about vehicles and pollution in today's earth and world. I'll be going over the pros and cons of each vehicles so you can see if you ever decide to purchase one, which one will work best for you. These cars come in many different shapes and sizes, and many people claim other vehicles are more efficient and better than others, but it really depends on what you need it for. Some others are better for the environment, but is that really true? One of the first cars that came out was a Ford Model A back in 1903. Ford Model A was a very small, compact car that not very many people could afford because of how expensive they were in their time. That was one of the first gas vehicles that ever were produced in today's market. Thank you. Gas vehicles. Gas vehicles are very much less expensive compared to some other vehicles that are on the road today. They're also the most common vehicle we see on the road today, and they're very available to purchase, and you can see them everywhere. You can purchase them brand new, you can purchase them from a used car dealership, you can even purchase them from Facebook Marketplace. The pros of these vehicles is how easy it is to refill. There's gas stations everywhere, no matter how big the town is, or if it's a town of 200 people, there'll always be a gas station there. So if you're going cross-country traveling, if you need gas and it's in the way, then there's always an option for it. Gas vehicles are mostly cheaper and easier to be maintained than others, especially older models. Older models use more common parts and they're a lot less harder to get, even though now in today's world, the older vehicles parts are starting to go out, so trying to find an OEM part is very difficult. According to MOSparts.com, environmental stress has become a big issue to gas-emitting cars. The EPA have strict constrictions on what you can have on your exhaust, including a catalytic converter, which stops some carbon going to the atmosphere. Another thing is on more modern cars where parts are more expensive, made from different materials, the cost can get expensive, especially in sports cars made from companies like Dodge and Chevy, including the Corvette and the Hellcat. Over the years, as we know, fuel has become a lot more expensive. Where it used to be $1.50, now it's up to $3, even $4 in Colorado. California, though, has it a lot tougher than we do as of now. Miles per gallon is a huge part of affordability. If the worse miles per gallon you get, the more you have to fill up with gas, which is the more money. Older pickups and older vehicles, which have bigger engines or more commonly a V8, soak up a lot more gas, including even getting down to 8 miles per gallon, which I have to deal with. Some gas cars are not as luxurious now, unless you get a sports car, as some other vehicles and types of fuel efficiency. Did I go too far? There it is. Next vehicle we're talking about are diesels. Diesels are known for being very powerful, having better miles per gallon, and having very high torque ratios. Diesels are commonly known to get better gas mileage than gas cars, but one thing is the fuel that you have to worry about, whereas some states right now, it is over $10 per gallon. These vehicles last a very long time, which makes them a great investment in the long run. And this is because how oily the fuel is. Diesel is a lot more oily and thicker than gas, which makes it so it self-lubricates parts of your engine. The engines and parts in diesel's trucks are made a lot tougher, so they'll last a lot more in the long run. Diesels are known for being tow vehicles and good for workplaces. And they are hard to come by as a cheaper price now because how long they hold their value for. What reason to buy one of these is they have a great resale value and they keep their price throughout the years. A 30-year-old truck nowadays can still be worth over 30 grand if it is in good condition, which buying an older one now is pretty difficult. Some of the cons, though, according to powerproducts.com, are EGR systems. 2004 vehicles and more in past are required from the EPA to have an EGR system in the exhaust. That makes it so the gas that comes out, it fuels or filters out the carbon and puts it right back in the engine. That's like dumping straight dirt back into your engine, which is not very good for the vehicle. EGRs clog up and over time can lead to thousands and thousands of dollars of cost. But the way to avoid this is if you get a delete, which goes straight from the exhaust pipe out. That is what provides the black smoke you see on the highway, but again, that is technically illegal, even though they're trying to get it fixed. Fuel has shot up so much because how hard it is because of the war in the Middle East. Iran supports most of the fuel and oil we get here, and since diesel is it's a very oily compound, it's hard for gas stations to get it, and it's hard for them to give it at a cheap price. Diesels are very, very expensive, and they will cost up a lot, not only from the parts going out, EGR systems, exhaust, and prices. Another problem with these are cold weather. Since it's oily, when it becomes cold, the fuel thickens up, which makes it hard to get through systems and exhaust lines. So if you live somewhere where it's cold, and let's say for example Alaska, and it's negative 10 degrees, it's hard to get some of them started up because how slow the fuel moves. Lastly, electric and hybrid. Electric cars have become a huge part of today's world because of how environmentally friendly they are. And people claim they cut emissions going down the road. They're much cheaper to power because you don't need gas for electric, even though hybrid you will use some gas, but it's not as much. But buying the charger isn't cheap either. There's less parts inside the car, which makes it more luxurious, but it still runs on a battery that if it does blow up, then you're gonna have some major issues cost-wise. These cars take a long time to charge. If you're going across country and you need to charge up in a small town, they won't have it. We haven't gotten far enough yet for them to have it. Another con of these is battery blowups. Batteries overheat, as we know, and as a battery blows up in a car like this, the battery's made from so many different things, it'll overheat, and replacing one of these will cost sometimes up to $20,000 to $30,000. Some of the parts in here too are very rare and hard to get because how they're manufactured, and if the part does go out with steering or suspension, again, that's another huge price buildup. People claim that they're more environmentally friendly, but that's not very true. When you dig out metals to build the batteries, which are made from lithium, cobalt, nickel, manganese, and graphite, they are dug from the ground, which they are ground metals. How they dig them are with heavy-duty equipment, which are usually diesel vehicles, and it takes a very large environmental impact. According to Zebra.com, in today's world, we have a lot of options to get to point A to B. And even though some cars will look better than others, you have to find the one that works best for you. Yeah, looks and personal preference are a big part to some people, but if one car is more unreliable and you can't afford it, it's better to go with the cheaper one. There's always environmental concern, and for the rest of the time there will be environmental concern, but it's all up to what we figure out for how we can make the earth a cleaner place and how we can get past these problems in the vehicles we have today. Purchasing a first car will be tough for some people, but if you do the right choices with your money and you find out what's better in the long run for you, then you will find your car eventually. That's it.